People all over Alameda County are recycling, setting out bottles, cans, and paper for curbside pickup, and taking materials to community buyback centers. Thanks to their efforts, over 15% of household waste is now being recycled. But we need to do more. Most of our refuse is still part of the waste stream. Every day, thousands of tons of garbage are picked up from homes and businesses in Alameda County and dumped into pits at places like the Davis Street Transfer Station, forming a vast sea of refuse. Materials of every kind, many of which would be valuable if they had been separated, are crushed together, compacted, bulldozed, and loaded into trucks for a last journey. The final resting place for our garbage is landfill. Hayward Mayor Mike Sweeney is president of the Alameda County Waste Management Authority.
Well, we're running out of landfill space. I think most people feel correctly that we need to use our land for other more productive uses: housing, economic development, industrial uses, parks and recreational opportunities, and that it really doesn't make sense to use up our valuable land for landfill space, and in fact we're running out of landfill space.
Assemblywoman Delane Easton represents Southern Alameda County in the California legislature.
Rather than taking one resource, which is our land, and another resource, which is our recyclable materials, and putting them together for a net loss of both, we will in fact keep as much of these resources out of the land as we can.
State law requires that every city and county reduce the amount of material sent to landfill by 50% before the end of this decade. To meet this challenge, there are 3 words all of us need to remember: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce means avoiding products and packaging that will end up in landfill. Reuse means looking for ways we, or someone else, can extend the useful life of products. Recycle means collecting and separating materials that can be reprocessed and made into new products. In this program, we'll look at some of the things people in Alameda County are already doing. These stories can serve as models and inspiration for all of us. And we'll also hear about new programs being developed by the Alameda County Waste Management Authority and local governments that will make it possible for us to do even more in the future. By changing the way we shop, we can reduce the amount of waste we generate at the source. About 50% of residential garbage starts out as product packaging. For years, advertising has reinforced the idea that elaborate packaging means quality. And historically, Americans have used more packaging than any other people in the world. Today, many people are reversing this trend. They prefer to buy vegetables and grains in bulk, eliminating needless packaging materials that would otherwise end up in landfill. We can look for more efficient packaging. For example, a number of cleaning products are now available in refill containers. Some are made of paper rather than plastic, and others use much less plastic than the dispensers we may already have at home. And of course, we can choose packaging that contains post-consumer recycled materials.
It's in a recycle box.
Look for information about recycled content on the package. Reuse is a crucial concept for reducing waste. It simply means that instead of throwing something away, we find some way to use it again or pass it on to someone else who can. When we drop off used clothing and household items at a Goodwill collection center, we make them available to reuse. Goodwill sorts, cleans, prices, and resells tons of material in Alameda County every year. Customers get quality products at very reasonable prices, and materials that might have gone into landfill are kept out of the waste stream. Clothing that can't be sold here at the Goodwill stores is passed on to companies such as United Textile in San Lorenzo, a company that has made a profitable business processing and selling clothing and textiles that have already been discarded twice.
Well, when it first comes in, what we're primarily looking for is good, usable clothing. The demand for clothing is phenomenal. We don't have enough to provide the international demand for used clothing. The majority of it isn't good, usable clothing, so consequently we're in the wiping cloth business. And all clothing, all material that's not good as clothing goes into the wiping cloth business. We've put on our boxes of Just Rags 100% recycled to kind of reinforce the image that we're promoting, that it's used material.
The East Bay Depot for Creative Reuse is a unique, non-profit institution that collects odds and ends that most people would consider junk and makes them available at very low cost to artists, art teachers, and many others who need raw materials for art and science projects.
I've done art education for 15 years, and I would not be able to survive. Public sector, private sector, whatever, whoever I service, I would not be able to survive without this depot, plain and simple. There are things I can find here that I can't find anywhere. The materials excite me and inspire me, and if I don't have this place, I'm not as inspired.
The East Bay Depot's biggest impact is changing people's ideas about garbage. At classes and workshops, kids and teachers learn how to make art from materials discarded every day by people in the Bay Area. Reuse can be fun, but it can also be a way for large businesses to save a lot of money. At this corporate warehouse, workers clean, repair, and refurbish used furniture that used to be discarded. More and more contractors are realizing that items such as doors, windows, fixtures, and materials that are recovered from demolition and remodeling jobs can be reused. Rather than dump these items into landfill, they sell them to Urban Ore, which organizes them so that they are conveniently and cheaply available to other contractors and individual homeowners.
It's just not true at all that things that are being dumped are worthless. We have a misconception about things, and fundamentally the problem is that our handling systems for discarded materials turn them into waste with maximum efficiency. And the fundamental way that happens is that things, unlike things, are mixed together. We feel like almost anything and everything is recyclable as long as it is handled right. And that's what we specialize in, is working on handling systems that are convenient for people to use, cheap to use, and competitive with other facilities.
When we think about recycling, many of us think about setting out bottles and cans at home for curbside pickup. But nearly 75% of the waste stream comes from the places where we work. The largest percentage of commercial waste is paper, and almost all of it is recyclable. The Alameda County government has a system in place to help employees recycle paper at facilities throughout the county. Everyone has a container near their desk where they can put paper that will be collected later by the custodial staff.
The county's recycling program began in early 1991, and in the first fiscal year, the employees recycled 520 tons of office paper. That's white and mixed paper. That's about 2 tons every working day that we're diverting from the landfill.
Alameda County Supervisor Mary King believes it is important that government lead by example.
frequently politicians will tell others what to do and not follow their own best words. In Alameda County, we've set forward a program that we are all participating in. We are significantly doing our part to reduce the waste stream.
Many private companies are also recycling paper. In a typical program, all employees have collection boxes at their desks, which they take to a central location on their floor and sort into bins for white and mixed paper. At this bank branch, the delivery truck that brings office supplies picks up the paper and takes it back to a supply warehouse, where it is shredded and baled to be sold in the used paper market. At this one facility, more than 10,000 tons of paper are recycled every year.
I think people are really motivated about the program. Most of the people that I know in the office recycle at home, save aluminum foil, recycle cans, glass, cardboard. So a natural extension of that is being able to do it at the office. The corporate-wide program has made it easier. It would be a little difficult to cart all my paper home every day to recycle it. It's nice to be able to just walk to the back room and dump it.
In addition to recycling, all of us can find opportunities to reduce and reuse where we work. Using a ceramic cup for coffee or tea keeps styrofoam and paper out of the garbage. Two-sided copying saves paper. The cumulative effect of thousands of simple gestures every day can make a big impact on the waste stream. In Alameda County, there are more restaurants than any other type of business. Kincaid's Bay House at Jack London Square is one of a number of restaurants that has made recycling cardboard and glass a part of their basic operating plan. As a result, they estimate that they are saving 34% on their trash bills. And over the years, environmental awareness has become part of the corporate culture.
We use cocktail napkins that are recycled. We use paper to-go containers versus styrofoam. In fact, one time I actually ran out of paper, and I brought in a small package of styrofoam. Well, it didn't take long for the servers and other staff members to approach me, and they voiced their concerns, and it was a very good concern, and from that day forward, there has been no styrofoam within the restaurant.
Very few people realize just how many different kinds of materials can be recycled. For instance, did you know that Oakland's Gallagher & Burt Construction Company recycles the asphalt that is ground off the surface of roads that are being repaved? This recycled road surface is blended together with virgin gravel and asphalt at the hot mix asphalt plant. Currently, the company uses about 25% recycled material, and the percentage will increase in the future as Caltrans specifications permit. Recycling asphalt has many benefits. It reduces consumption of natural resources such as petroleum and gravel. It reduces the amount of material going into landfill. It saves money. And it actually creates a more durable road surface than a mix containing all virgin material. What happens to the cans, bottles, and paper that we recycle? Who uses them, and how are they made into new products? Materials picked up at curbside are sorted at materials recovery facilities like Bay City Recycling in San Leandro. Here, aluminum cans, tin cans, glass of different colors, and plastic of different types are sorted into bins. Separation is the key to making it possible to manufacture new products using those materials. Contaminants such as plastic are removed from paper. Public buyback centers pay cash for valuable materials such as aluminum cans and glass containers that have been sorted by color. There is a good market for sorted glass, and we can see how it is used to make new containers right here in Alameda County. The first step in reprocessing glass is breaking it up into small pieces called cullet. This cullet from clear bottles is being delivered to the Owens Brockway Container Company in Oakland. Cullet, along with virgin sand and other materials, is fed into furnaces and used to create new jars and bottles.
Currently, this facility uses about 250 tons a day of post-consumer cullet in the production of new containers. There are a number of advantages for us as a producer in terms of recycling glass. Aside from the fact that environmentally it's the correct thing to do, there are some very good, sound reasons for us to do it. When we use higher levels of the cullet or broken used jars and bottles and jars in the production of new containers, the higher the level of cullet, the lower the melting point on the glass. That translates obviously into an energy savings for us.
Currently, Owens Brockway uses more than 25% cullet in their containers. When these glass containers are resold, the recycling loop is completed. Paper and cardboard fibers are other materials that are reprocessed and used to manufacture new products here in Alameda County. Domtar Gypsum in San Leandro makes heavy paper sheathing for wallboard from recycled fibers that are broken down in huge vats.
We make the paper that goes on sheetrock wallboard. Our product's made from 100% recycled waste paper. We use approximately 300 ton a day, every day. What you see out here in the yard is only good for about, maybe 3 days worth of our operation. We use a lot of waste paper. Like I say, we go through 300 ton a day. We're big fans of all the recyclers out there. They keep the supply in, it keeps the price reasonable, keeps us at Domtar in business. You get it baled up and we'll make paper out of it. That's what we do for a living.
America's automobile-based culture discards 250 million used tires every year. In Northern California, more than 1/2 of the used tires go to the Oxford Tire Company in Union City. Here, workers select tires that have the potential to be reused or recapped. Skilled graders check for defects and sort tires by size.
We'd like to think that we recycle everything but the air that comes in the tire or the hole in the middle of the tire. We recycle the inner tubes, we recycle the rims that come in, we recycle the flaps in the truck tires. We try and take everything for the highest possible use.
Reusable tires are sold in the United States or exported to Mexico. Tires that cannot be reused become fuel for an electric power plant in Central California. Nothing is wasted, and nothing goes into landfill. Even though we are using many of the materials we collect, there's more that we can be doing to reap all the economic benefits. For instance, much of our used paper is now shipped overseas. Exporting recycled paper does get it out of our landfills, but if more of our industries retooled their production lines to make effective use of recovered fibers, we'd have more jobs, less costly products, and we wouldn't have to cut down our forests as rapidly. Remember that recycling isn't really complete until products made with recycled materials are bought and put back into use. This is where we can all make a difference. Choosing recycled products when we shop for our families, and encouraging the purchasing of recycled products where we work.
We're seeing many more organizations recycling than we are seeing organizations buying recycled. In order to truly be recycling, We need to close that loop so that we're using the products, recycling them, and then buying products back with that same material.
PG&E and many of the Bay Area's other leading companies have formed the Recycled Paper Coalition.
The overall objective of the Recycled Paper Coalition is to send a signal to the marketplace that the investments necessary to increase the supply of recycled paper and that the investments necessary to make equipment more readily operate on recycled paper are in fact warranted, because the demand for recycled paper is sustained, is here for the long term, and will in fact be increasing.
Systems are already in place for recycling some materials, but others are just getting started. One example is oil. When was the last time you changed the oil in your car, and what did you do with it? We hope you recycled it, just like professional mechanics and oil changing facilities do. Most of the oil recycled on the West Coast is collected by Evergreen Oil and trucked to their refinery in Newark. Evergreen Oil has pioneered the re-refining of motor oil, and its facility is an exciting example of how the economic and environmental necessity of recycling has spawned entrepreneurial initiative and technological innovation. Using the most advanced refinery in the United States, Evergreen produces a range of products, including a lubricant that is cleaner and more durable than most oil refined from virgin crude petroleum.
The products from the refining process are a fuel product that is sent to industrial burners, asphalt flux that's sent to roofing industry for asphalt shingles and tar paper, but our main product is lube oil base stocks, and the base stocks can be made into motor oil, hydraulic fluid, even WD-40 spray lubricant is one of the products that uses our oil.
Wood and yard waste comprise as much as 25% of the waste stream in some communities. These valuable organic materials are now being collected and ground up, creating wood chips that are burned as fuel by cogeneration power plants, and a finer material that can be used as a mulch or compost. A major buyer of this product is American Soil Products, which mixes a number of recycled organic materials together to create a complete line of composts and soil amendments that are used by homeowners, gardeners, and landscapers. Many of us can recycle our own yard waste and other organic material by composting at home. The Alameda County Home Composting Education Program offers classes that help people get started, explaining how composting works and showing how worms can help break down organic materials.
The most important thing about home composting is that it's the most ecological and the most cost-effective way to recycle organic materials. There's no garbage truck or truck driving around to pick up the materials. There's no processing, huge machinery being used to process, and there's no effort having to go out and then market the compost. And so it's the first step we should be taking.
Poisons, paints, solvents, used engine oil, and other everyday items we have around our homes are considered household hazardous waste. It's illegal to put these materials into the trash, but for years there were no permanent facilities to receive them in Alameda County. New facilities are opening, and the public response to a recent one-day household hazardous waste collection event in Oakland showed that people are eager for the opportunity to do the right thing. People filled their cars and trucks with cans, bottles, and boxes of hazardous waste that had been in garages and basements for as long as 30 years. Lines of cars stretched for blocks, and people waited for nearly 2 hours to get in. Why did they do it?
Because it's the right thing to do. I mean, it was better than putting it somewhere on my property in my neighborhood.
Well, my wife said do it, so I'm doing it, but I didn't think it was going to take this long.
I think it's important. I think it's important to dispose of this stuff in a proper way.
I see people put this stuff in their garbage cans all the time.
Sometimes it's tempting to throw it down the drain or just dump it someplace, but it's the safe and responsible thing to do, to just hold it until they get something like this going.
Kids today are being brought up with an awareness of the environment that few of us would have imagined 10 years ago. And it's not just the children. The people and businesses of Alameda County are dramatically reducing the amount of garbage going into our landfill. We're saving money and we're creating jobs, but we've only just begun. There's more all of us have to do to reduce the waste stream at its source, to recover valuable resources, and to develop markets for recycled materials.
It's almost overwhelming how much garbage we produce. Americans produce more than any other country. Californians produce at twice the rate of the national average. So I have a real sense of urgency about California not throwing as much stuff out, and about us reusing this stuff. And those of us who've traveled to the Northlands and seen these beautiful forests and understand that some of that material we are going to need to cut down and use for homes and other things, but to the extent then that we can minimize wasting our paper and wasting our wood, we can save a lot more of what is beautiful about this state and makes it special.
We've seen a few of the many things that individuals and companies are doing in Alameda County to help reduce the waste stream. To protect our environment and to comply with new state laws, we need to do even more. And that's where you come in. The Alameda County Waste Management Authority urges you to reduce, reuse, and recycle, at work as well as at home. And remember to help close the loop of recycling by buying products that use recycled materials. It's the right thing to do for the environment, for our economy, and for our children.